One of the biggest pitfalls that I see amateurs falling into regularly, and it creates a rut for them, and then they stay in that rut. And it's the way to think of this is like being in a car, being in a rut, and putting your foot on the accelerator, expecting it to get you out of the rut, and it's making the rut deeper. Because what they're effectively trying to do is fix a problem by doing the action that's creating the problem. So let me say that again. Trying to resolve a problem with the very action that's creating the problem. So what this is I see a lot of struggling producers focusing a wildly disproportionate amount of their time on Mixdown. So this is buying all of the plugins, the latest compressor, then the latest compressor, and the EQ, and the analog this, and the that, and the this, and the that, and all these different types of processing, and watching all these tutorials on YouTube, and buying courses. And what they're effectively doing is telling themselves, and maybe you can relate to this, if I get great at Mixdown, then my music is going to sound as good as the pro producer's tracks that I aspire to. Here's the reality. Here's the truth of it. The Mixdown enhances the music that goes into it. Okay? It emphasizes what is already there. It doesn't reinvent it. And as our man, I don't know if he's on now, Mr. Lee Huddleston said in a call recently as a software developer, garbage in, garbage out. And that might sound a little bit harsh, same as you can't polish a turd, right? That might sound a little bit harsh, but it is the reality of things. The quality of music that goes in is essential. It cannot be turned into something it isn't via Mixdown. Now, I once used a phrase which created a lot of controversy. It was in a live Q&A session, kind of just like this, and someone was asking about it. And I used the phrase, a shit track with a good Mixdown is still a shit track. And that riled some people. And one of the things that they said, and I just want to clarify this, is who are you to say someone's music is shit? That's not me saying it. That's if a person perceives that their music isn't as they want it, not me. I never in my wildest dreams say that. I'm all about building creative confidence and helping people to reach their goals. But if the person perceives it as being really bad or shit, Mixdown is not going to fix it for them. That isn't going to be the answer. And you could kind of look at this. Imagine if you've got a tatty old ripped pair of trainers and you try to get out the polish and you believe that by polishing them, they're going to turn into this expensive designer pair of shoes. And then you just keep polishing more and more and harder. And what's going to happen? You're just going to end up wasting a lot of your time and a lot of your energy that you could have spent towards learning to create expensive designer shoes. And if Mixdown was the answer, then all of the world's greatest Mixdown engineers would also be the greatest songwriters and music producers, and we know that that isn't true, right? And so this is the thing that professional artists, prolific artists know that struggling amateurs do not know. And that is that the biggest leap in the sonic quality of a track comes not from the Mixdown, but from the way you approach the songwriting in the first place. The sounds that you choose, the way that those sounds are programmed and work together, the octaves that you program them into, the arrangement, that has the biggest impact on the sonic quality of the track. But instead, what struggling producers do is they grab more plugins, they throw more processing chains at it, they watch more tutorials, and they try to polish something and fix something that is fundamentally broken. And the trick here isn't trying to use the Mixdown to fix mistakes. The trick is to learn how not to make the mistakes in the first place. So whereas an amateur will put loads of plugins on, buy more plugins, read more about Mixdown, watch more about Mixdown, and then still be disappointed with the results, and then try to fix the problem with the same level of thinking that created it. So, well, I'm still not getting the results I want. So how am I going to fix this? Well, now I'll go and get more plugins. I'll watch more. I'll double down. I'll learn more about Mixdown. They are just putting their foot on the accelerator and digging the rut and making it much, much deeper for themselves. So it must be clear that the number one thing to focus on if you want to see big leaps forward with your music has got to be the songwriting process first. No exceptions. Get that piece of the puzzle first, because what happens is when you're able to consistently finish tracks, then the things that you learn about Mixdown, for example, you're able to regularly put into practice on good pieces of music and pieces of music that don't have the mistakes. So you're not going down the wrong road. You're now learning the skills that actually are the most valuable, the 20% of skills that get you 80% of the results. Because think of it like this. What a lot of people do is they go out and they're really struggling and they keep watching tutorials, and we could be talking about Mixdown, sound design, all sorts of things now, but they're not finishing their tracks, so they don't have a framework on which to hang this knowledge, and they're not practicing. And here's the science for you. They've discovered that just consuming material, you only retain 10 to 20% of it. So that's 80 to 90% of all the stuff you consume goes. It's like having a bucket with holes in the side, and you keep pouring all of your time and energy and effort in, and it just keeps leaking out and you end up with nothing. Whereas if you're actually practicing in a contextual environment with a framework, you retain so much more of the knowledge. So the name of the game is to make it your non-negotiable to get good at songwriting, to follow a system for consistently finishing your tracks, so that the skills you practice then become, or rather the information you consume, you practice, it becomes a skill, it becomes second nature, and as you become better as a music producer, the sonic quality of your tracks naturally is going to improve, because you've got those Mixdown skills that are now in here, and you've got the songwriting skills. So you end up with sonically better tracks, and you end up with really great pieces of music as well. So this is one of the things that we're going to be really deep diving into, this entire process and the 5 ingredients that are going to get you to regularly finish your tracks, be able to practice, level up your skills, and start getting the quality that you want and seeing the quality consistently rise in the studio. We're going to be doing that in our upcoming workshop. So it's 2 days, Finish More Music Blueprint. It's totally free. To book your spot on it, you want to jump over to finishmoremusic.com/workshop. Literally, book your seat. There's an option straight away there to click, and you'll get added to the Facebook group where we're hanging out now. Going to be doing additional training, a lot of things in the lead up to this. And if you've been buzzing, it's a buzzing, says Mrs. M. And if you've been following these tutorials, and if you sort of listen to the podcast or any of the things I do, you'll know that a lot of the way that I teach is counterintuitive. So this is the one thing and the only thing that I would ask of you when you show up, other than being a bundle of positivity and joy, because that's what we're all about, is like positive can-do attitude. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. So come in, believe in it. But also, because what I teach is very different to what you will hear elsewhere, come at it ready to take the leap of faith. Come at it open to being coachable and say, well, look, if what I've been doing maybe for years isn't getting me the results that I want, then clearly doing something different, even if it feels counterintuitive to everything that I've learned before, what have you got to lose? Because if you're not getting the results now, what have you got to lose? And I'll tell you, we've put thousands of people have had this, been through this free training. I've been running it for 5 years now, as I said, and you do it once a year. So if you don't jump on it right now, it will be another year until you get the opportunity to go through this with us. Thousands of people have been through it. you can see the comments, the testimonials from people who've got amazing results, buzzing on the free training. It's literally my gift to you. I love helping music producers, so love to welcome you on this. The promise of the workshop is really simple. By the end of it, you're going to have the 5 ingredients to move from a place where maybe you're struggling with perfectionism, procrastination, perhaps self-doubt. Maybe you are finishing some tracks, but the quality is just plateaued. Maybe you really relate to what I've been talking about and you're good, yeah, you know, that's me. I just keep throwing the same thing at this, expecting to get different results. And it doesn't matter how much more time, energy and effort you spend doing the wrong thing, you're still just going to get the results that you don't want. So if you want a new way of thinking, and this has resonated with you, finishmoremusic.com/workshop, and we'd love to welcome you to the community. So that was the piece that I wanted to talk about. Scott, I love this. Mixing only magnifies the problems in the production. Yeah, absolutely. So I use this word emphasizes. Exactly the same, right? Magnifies. The Mixdown emphasizes what is already there, or as Scott says, it magnifies what's already there. So if the production is of good quality, you'll emphasize all of the good things, and if there are all sorts of problems, you're going to shine the magnifying glass on them. And ultimately, you know, maybe you've been there yourself. You've tried to EQ and EQ and EQ the living daylights out of something. Ears have got tired, not sure if it's better or worse, come back to it, it still doesn't sound good. More processing, more processing, more processing. And fundamentally, in my experience, and I've taught thousands of music producers, over 4,000 people on a one-to-one basis now, fundamentally, it's nearly always something that could have been avoided earlier in the track. So learning how to do that, learning how not to make the mistakes, instead of trying to fix mistakes that are unfixable because it's a problem at a fundamental level, clearly is going to get you accelerating so much farther and faster along your music production journey. And take it from Scott, because he's an absolute wizard mixing engineer, but he's also a kick-ass songwriter first, and that's the point. He's like, he embodies it. And Scott actually did a masterclass for us recently. He's a member of Finish More Music, and he did a masterclass and taught a bunch of his ideas around songwriting and mixing, and he's sort of jumped on and taught people actually physically songwriting, so not just like the banging techno stuff that he makes, but also he's a very gifted songwriter, and he like just taught loads and loads of stuff, so you get to learn from amazing people like him in FMM, which is fantastic. Scott, we do salute you, sir. Hope you're well, buddy. So that is all from me. Mrs. M, did you pick up? Were there any questions? Did I miss anything along the way? I'll just reiterate and recap one more time the way to join us in the workshop. It starts in 2 days, and what it is you basically get access to a highly produced video series. And I ain't kidding about this. It's not just watching me on like screen sharing a DAW type thing, and not that there's anything wrong with that, and I do plenty of stuff like that. You can find loads of this stuff on our YouTube channel, but this is actually a highly produced video series that's like me wandering around different places, studios, clubs, all of these things, doing lots of training. We put a lot of love into it. Creatively, it's the hardest thing I have ever done, and my team are amazing, all coming together to build this thing, so it'll be a surprise for you for a start. And as I say, what have you got to lose? If you join the community and you start the workshop and you say it's not for me, fine. But if you don't join the community and you don't start the workshop, and then you wonder, well, what if it's another year until we're going to do this again? And you know what the world is like, you know, things are topsy-turvy. So get involved now, take your opportunity. It costs you absolutely nothing because it's free. 3-part, highly produced, creative video series, live training from me between the episodes as we release them. You get downloads, workbooks, roadmaps, blueprints that all accompany it. It's passive. You'll be taking action. You'll be part of an interactive community as well. And the promise is very simple. By the end of the workshop, you are going to walk away with a proven process for finishing every single track you start, and importantly, consistently seeing the quality of your productions rise. So I will see you on the inside. I'll be here again tomorrow with something else for you. A lot of the training I'm doing, I love jumping on as much as I can because my focus is very much on doing this and you guys for this period of time. I'll be jumping on with some more training tomorrow, and all of this is designed to help unlock the creativity in your creative way of thinking, so that when we get to the workshop, you're ready to absorb it and to be a sponge and take in the knowledge that you're going to get and put it into action. So hopefully I will see you here, same place, roughly same time. I was a little bit later today because I actually was with one of my coaches and one of my mentors, and the session ran over. So I'm absolutely huge on investing in yourself. Who you become dictates what you will be able to do and the outcomes that you'll get. And we talked about this a few days ago, that a lot of people operate from the place of, when I'm successful, then I'll do this thing. But success, and in this case, it was yesterday, we talked about, when I'm successful, then I'll surround myself with the right people. You know, if you want to fly with the eagles, don't hang with the crows. When I'm successful, then I'll surround myself with the right people. But that success never comes if you don't be the person who goes out and gets around the right people now. If you don't find your people and the right supportive people who are going to help you to unlock all of the different levels, show you, hear the things in your music that you're not hearing, connect you to the right people, give you the belief and the confidence, you'll never get to the place where you're theoretically going to surround them, because you're building your life on circumstance instead of taking on the power and the responsibility now. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing, getting you in the right mindset, getting you in the right headspace, getting you fired up, motivated, encouraged, ready to be a sponge, absorb it all, kicking off on the 21st. So finishmoremusic.com/workshop. Jump there now. I will see you tomorrow night, and then it's the big explosion of activity and that is the workshop on the 21st. Whoop whoop, says Mrs. M. Peace out, take care everyone. Amazing talking to you and hanging out as always.